Seriously. Coach, to me, if you were telling me as a freshman that I was going to run cross country, I would laugh hysterically. Anything that doesn't have a ball at the end of it, I wasn't going to do. Well, I didn't join the team, I joined the family, and it's led by Coach Lakes. Coach Lakes, we went on several runs together. He ran with us, he ran with the girls, he ran with the boys, he ran with varsity, JV, and he always put a smile on our face while running. Whether if it was talking like the Valley Girl, I know Pete and Morris here, she'll remember that, so say no. Or doing the sign trick, remember the sign trick you're running? You're like, oh, in the head, but you're really going to hit your head. So that was Coach Lakes right there.
Yeah, in life, when you go back and look at these things and think of the things that are taught to you by key people when you're growing up, I know for me and for the Ernst family, Coach Lakes comes up a lot. Coach, the term, it usually has a season to it. And when somebody makes such a difference in your life, and it lasts with you for the remaining of your life, you're going through things, and you can constantly refer to that person as coach, that means that he's really made a difference on you. I know there's plenty of people in this room, there's plenty of Marion Giants out there that fondly and affectionately still refer to you as coach. It is our great honor to have you come up here. I think that's the next step here. To have you come up here and accept the duly warranted seat in the Hall of Distinction.
Well, settle in. I got my next speech ready. Food later. What I have in my hand, first I want to say congratulations to Carol Sector, who was the curriculum director for years and years. Great curriculum director. And I found this in the back of the drawer. If you've ever been in my classroom, tell them, Bobby, there's stuff back there from way before I ever came. This is the curriculum guide from 1985, revised. That's the year I was hired here. And I thought that would be nice. I would just give that to Carol for some light reading. Now everything's digital, so it's much different. First I want to say thank you, Patricia. I forgot to first say you do such a great job with everything, with the Hall of Distinction and the Hall of Fame. Thanks to the Hall of Distinction, I'm very humbled and honored by this. This is something you don't expect. I started teaching 40 years ago, last August, and it was in Pompano Beach, Florida, and I thought I was going to be really good at it. I was god-awful. I was a terrible coach. I wasn't a very good teacher. About this time, 40 years ago, I'm thinking I've made a grave error in my career choice, and I thought maybe there's something else I could do, and but I stuck with it, and as I said on the video, I think there's reasons that we put on this earth. Certainly, I think God put me on this earth to teach and to coach. This award is more about my teaching, I think. But I've always said good coaches are good teachers and good teachers are good coaches. And I want to thank, to the MHS faculty, present and past, the administration, present and past, the community of Marion that accepted us. When I came here, Vicki and I were newlyweds. And when I came to get this job, Dick Persinger was the principal. Jerry Vicker was the HR guy. And I bugged him to death because I got transferred to another high school in Florida. There were 26 high schools in South Florida where I was. The high school I was in could have had a great track team. But a lot of those guys may have been in jail by the end of the year. It was a tough school. So I wanted to get back to the Midwest. Vicki and I were engaged. And I remember Dick Persinger. It was Dick Persinger, Jess Taylor, Don Gregory. We were standing there in the front hallway, and Dick looked at the other guy and goes, "Well, I guess we can make a Red Devil into a Marion Giant." And I said, "Yeah." I was like, "What a job!" But I thought, 2 years, we're gone. 38 years later, same house, 3 kids. We've certainly become a Marion Giants and loved it. We love the community. We've got great friends that we've met here, and that's the reason why we stayed. That and because we both had great jobs here. We both enjoyed what we were doing. And I'm so honored to see so many Marion High School grads that I've worked with, or now that I'm working with, and that's Doug Porter, Christy Philippi, my son Matthew. There's been so many that have come through and come back here, and they've given to the community and to our school. And I'm really honored to be, in the Hall of Distinction with fellow teachers and administrators. Bobby Owensby, people think she's younger than I am. She's not. But Bobby Bobby and I kind of lean on each other because we talk about some of the older teachers, Bobby, and of course we're the only two that know them. Dave Tippy, Clyde Thornell, Jack Colescott, Jim Moritz, he was in my department. What a guy. We're both probably the two only Notre Dame fans. Everybody was talking bad about him, but we both love Notre Dame. Steve Edwards, I've known Steve since I was in high school. He had great cross-country teams at Muncie Northside. We hated those guys because they were always good, and they wore these silly hats. Lyndon Brown, also part of this. And the years that those guys were here, and Doug may concur with that, those were 4 years of probably professionally that were just so fabulous. We were on the verge of takeover from the state, and we really turned it around on a dime. And with their leadership, that certainly happened. I was influenced by great teachers, just like great coaches. In 8th grade, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I found out there was such great money and fame in that's what I wanted to be. I had a teacher in PE named Russell Jeans. He was the fairest man I've ever met. And when I was at Pleasant View Junior High, I saw the way he treated all of us. He never lost his temper. And he was just a special guy. And I thought, you know what? I think I want to do that, It was either that or become a lawyer. And my mom and dad said, I don't want you to be a lawyer. So, sorry, Judge. No, teaching and coaching was there. And then when I got into high school, I had a guy named Charlie Matthews. Charlie Matthews was acted off Broadway. He knew Gene Stapleton, for those of you that are older, played Edith Bunker. They acted together in the Pittsburgh class. But he was such a dynamic person in the classroom. Turned me on to English, literature, writing. And I had him for speech, 10th grade. And he made that exciting. And I had him for a vocabulary class, which is kind of like watching grass grow. And he made that exciting. And Charlie and I stayed in contact all the way until his death. He was certainly a person that I admired. My mentors, Dan Marguerite from Pompano Beach was my mentor teacher. Not a great football coach, but an excellent English teacher. Petey Ross, some of you may have had Petey here. And Petey was a tough teacher. Little woman with a strong voice, but she taught me a lot about how to be a good teacher. I thought it was pretty good when we started working together. I found out just how hard it was, but it showed me so many great things. And I guess, I came from a working class family. Both my parents worked very hard, and their motto was show up every day and do your best. And I guess if I had any advice to teachers, or anybody, is to show up every day. Do your best. And that's been great advice for me. The other great advice I have is from Keith Burke. Keith Burke used to always tell us, they don't care what you know until they know that you care. Is that right? That's true. And that is so right. Especially, I've taught in urban schools my entire career. And, it's about stability, isn't it, Bobby? Those kids are going to know in that corner room, Bobby Owensby is there, right? Terry Lakes is in that room. Doug Porter's in that room. And they want that stability. And we've had their parents. We've had their uncles and aunts, brothers and sisters. Bobby may have had the grandparents. I don't know. Okay. You're still a little younger than I do. Okay. But anyway, I want to thank again. I've already done this. My family, all the teachers that have always helped me. My wife. Now there's 4 of us that are teaching. Matthew's teaching here, Elliott's teaching at Muncie Central, and we can't hold a candle to Vicki. She's the best teacher I've ever seen. If you know what Vicki does, she knows her parents, she knows her kids, in and out, and she remembers their names. I forget them by the time we get to the next fall. But she is an excellent teacher, and she is a great confidant for me. One last thing that I would like to read, and I know I've been up here twice, and everybody's butt's probably getting sore. But it's something that I had hanging behind my desk about the last 25 years. It's called The Credo of a Teacher and Coach. I have no idea who wrote this. I don't even know where I found it. But this is what it says. Student athletes are the most important people in any school. Student athletes are not dependent upon us. We are dependent upon them. Student athletes are not an interruption of our work. They are the purpose of it. Student athletes do us a favor when they come to school and practice. We are not doing them a favor by serving them. Student athletes are not just a statistic. They are flesh and blood human beings with feelings and emotions like ours. Student athletes are people who come to us with their needs or wants. It is our job to fill them. Student athletes are deserving of the most courteous and attentive service we can give them. Student athletes are the life and blood of this and every school or team. Without them, we would have to close our doors. We cannot ever forget that. Thank you.